It was meant to be a miracle drug, but it almost killed Kaitlyn. She lives with cystic fibrosis and started taking it so she can live a longer and happier life. But then her liver started to fail.
Where's the elephant?
For Kaitlyn,
Come and help Mummy.
being a mum is the greatest gift of all.
Oh, monkey.
The 30-year-old wasn't sure it was on the cards for her and husband Kay.
What's a crocodile do?
I always knew that I would be a mum. I just didn't know how it was going to happen.
Then along came Cooper.
That is Dan.
Is Cooper a big reason why you keep going and doing what you're doing?
Yeah. He's everything.
Kaitlyn was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at 6 weeks old, a genetic condition which causes a build-up of mucus which can clog the lungs and digestive tract. Australia has one of the highest incidences of cystic fibrosis in the world, with 1 in 25 people carrying the gene.
What was treatment like for you as a kid?
So my parents used to pat me on the back, sort of lean me over so that gravity would help bring everything out.
Treatments have come a long way since then.
So how many tablets are you taking a day?
Anywhere between 30 and 40 when I'm well.
Wow.
Yep.
These tablets help Kaitlyn cope with daily symptoms. 3 years ago, she had a moment of hope with a breakthrough medicine called Trikafta.
It was such a relief that I finally felt like something was going to work for me.
But devastatingly, the win was short-lived. Kaitlyn's body started rejecting the medication.
My liver wasn't tolerating the medication anymore. I knew how well I felt on it, and to have that ripped away was really, really hard.
And knowing that there was no alternate drug that you could take, how do you swallow that information?
I think the same way I've always really had to swallow it. Hoping that eventually there'll be something for everyone.
It's a tough pill to swallow, especially given the life expectancy for those with cystic fibrosis is significantly reduced. Patients on modulators like Trikafta can live into their 70s and 80s. For the 25% of patients who can't take it, like Kaitlyn, that number is decreased to anywhere between their mid-40s to mid-60s.
For as long as I can remember, I've always had that number sort of floating above my head. And, you know, some days you think more about it than others. Some days you don't even think about it. But it's always there. Yeah.
At 48 years old, Jade's passed the initial threshold for her life expectancy.
It was always the goalposts move throughout your life, if you're lucky. But I didn't ever think, oh, I'll die young. I'm not sure. My brother was unwell for a long period there.
Jade's brother Joe died from cystic fibrosis at 24 years old.
But he lived larger than life. I think we all, with CF, sort of want to do what we can at the time we've got, especially back then, yeah.
Jade kept fighting, but in 2018 her lungs began to fail and she underwent a double lung transplant.
At this point, you don't have that luxury of choice.
And so how long after that were you able to start taking Trikafta?
I've been on Trikafta probably only a year and a half.
And how much of a difference has it made?
It's great, yeah. After having it for 3 months, and my results were like 80% better across everything.
With the transplant and Trikafta, Jade says she's grateful to get old.
It's a privilege knowing people who couldn't get to here to be in this position.
Yeah, back a decade or so ago, cystic fibrosis was considered a terminal condition.
CF Together CEO Kate Johnson says progress is being made, but more needs to be done.
We still need a lot more research to find treatments for those that can't use the current modulators, and ultimately there still isn't a cure for cystic fibrosis, so that's the ultimate research goal.
For those like Kaitlyn who can't take the so-called miracle drugs, the medical episodes can be life-threatening.
About a year and a half ago, after feeding him, I put him into bed, and at that point that I had bent over into his cot, I just started coughing up blood.
Kaitlyn spent 3 weeks in the intensive care unit. Since then, she experiences similar lung bleeds every 6 months.
And being fine one day and then fighting for your life the next day is hard. Go, ready, set, go! Oh!
Whilst each day is a waiting game, Kaitlyn remains hopeful.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Cooper grow up. You know, eventually Kane and I would love to be able to give him a sibling, but I think eventually, you know, there'll be treatments that can help make that happen for me and for us.
Yeah, let's hope so. And Kaitlyn has been advocating for more research through the month of May as part of Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, and you can find more details on our website.